reach the top somehow.
Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, when you hear that theme song, you know it's a time for another edition of Straight Talk, and time for me to say greetings to the entire world, because we are on the World Wide Web, and we reach and touch you wherever you are in the Caucasian division and Caribbean diaspora. And in particular, for those of you in St. Kitts and Nevis, I say a very special night to you and to those in the entire Eastern Caribbean region. To my Straight Talk family in the Caucasian and Division diaspora, I say greetings one more time. I know that some of you are all over Africa. Some of you are in Europe, there's some of you in Asia, and there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I am at liberty to say good night. I will say good morning, and I will also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And for those first-timers who maybe joining me for the first time, I bid you welcome and hope and pray and trust that it would not be your last time. And just to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. And my Straight Talk family, on this program, we also try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And as your host, I will continue to pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. And I want to assure you, especially the first-timers, that on this program, absolutely nothing is watered down. We never tried to make it more interesting, neither by omission or by exaggeration. Because on this program, my Straight Talk family, it is not about sensationalism or creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy. Because we lean on the facts, my Straight Talk family. And I can assure you that it is my bounden duty to present the unvarnished truth, especially when it comes to governance and transparency in our beloved St. Kitts and Nevis. And in this program, we are joined together with people across the Federation. We are joined together with people in the diaspora all over the world. Some we know very well, and some we have met. Others we do not know, and many we will never meet. Some will agree with the positions of truth advanced on Straight Talk, and some will disagree. And that's fine, because we promote, as I always say, we promote diversity. But it will sadden me, really, it will sadden me, my Straight Talk family, if ever we start to become disagreeable. So let us thank Almighty God, nonetheless, for helping us to understand, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us therefore hope and pray for the day when we will all sing his praises together. And for the first timers, I must also inform you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls, we include your emails, and if you're so minded calling, the numbers are on your screen, right at the bottom of your screen, 663-6672. Yes, the area code is 869 if you're calling from overseas. And our overseas number is 646-829-6672. There's some of you who like what I call the cloak of anonymity. We give you access, therefore, via our email platform since you don't want to be heard. We also heard on Alexa Live. For those of you who have that app, just say Alexa play Massive Vibes Radio. We also thank that owner for facilitating that at a very reasonable rate. And for those, as I said, who like the cloak of anonymity, our email access is straighttalkpatches@gmail.com. I also want to thank all who have made donations to date to support our efforts and to reassure you that your contribution helps us to continue these very important discussions and maintain our commitment to public service. Others, my Straight Talk family, who wish to donate can simply scan the code on your screen to access the payment form. So thank you for your support, no matter what size, and for helping us to keep the dialogue alive. And I say a special welcome as usual to my junior brigade, Young Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar, Kevin, Rue, Jamal, Travis, Travon, and yes, of course, I must call that special lady in St. Louis. And we usually begin with our observations in review. My Straight Talk family, we usually begin with our observations in review. Then we move into our thesis. And following my thesis, I will include your calls and emails, as mentioned earlier, to allow your full participation. Yes, you get an opportunity, so to speak, to have your say. And our observations in review, we highlight the current issues, we do some reflection, we may then ask a few questions, and after our observations in review, we will begin our thesis. We normally headline with our thesis. And our thesis for tonight, my Straight Talk family, is titled SEED. That's the acronym, SEED, which means Socio-Economic and Environmental Disaster in St. Kitts Nevis. So don't you change that platform. Don't you change that link. Just spread the word that Straight Talk is on live, my family. And I promised this Newtown matriarch, Ilva Wallace, who celebrated on Saturday and told me she'll be celebrating all next month. I think she did. So happy belated birthday, Ilva Wallace. I was honored to have a beverage out with you on, was it Friday? And I got that mixture out of your cup as well. So for that birthday lady, I wish you a happy belated birthday one more time. Or matter of fact, you said you are celebrating for the rest of next month. Our second observation relates to this smart hospital or climate smart hospital. It started as a smart hospital, and you know when we say smart hospital, we're looking forward for the technologically driven hospital. But all of a sudden, it then morphed into a climate smart hospital. And you know, my Straight Talk family, the people are still confused as to what's going on. For example, they had this song and dance on a few days ago when they commissioned the foyer over there at the JN France Hospital. They can song and dance about it.
To thank the cable for their investment in the lobby, the foyer. It looks beautiful. When you enter the hospital, it's a beautiful building.
I was there this morning, so I was able to see.
You were able to see.
Yes.
It's beautiful. These are the stories people need to talk about. I know that there are challenges.
And my Straight Talk family, what is also confusing all of us is that he also spoke to the commissioning of a third operating theatre at the Joseph N. France General Hospital.
We are going to establish a third operating theatre, which Social Security is helping on. So now JNF will have 3 operating theatres for the first time to host an endoscopic conference. So we'll be bringing doctors from Trinidad and Jamaica and throughout the Caribbean and the US and so forth. And we'll use technology as part of the conference. What doctors do at conference, when they have these, they will do cases and they will share the experiences of the cases. So how our technology is going to be set up is that the doctors will have a link, a secured link, so they can watch the technology on their device. So while the surgery is going on, they can be on their device with a secured link looking at the surgery. And then they will have their discussions and so forth after. St. Kitts could not host these things before. But now we have reached the point where we can host these things because we are transforming, and the diaspora through Dr. Matt Grant. He's from, I think, the Tabernacle area, who is working along with Dr. Woodley and other staff members to make sure that this is a reality. So I want to thank Social Security for helping to procure the equipment and also helping to establish the third operating room. These are tremendous achievements. That is why.
So my Straight Talk family, it's all so confusing, like I said, because you hear this talk about constructing a brand new climate smart hospital. As a matter of fact, I would say, without fear of contradiction, that the JN France General Hospital is in fact climate smart. JN France Hospital has withstood many hurricanes. As a matter of fact, it withstood the Category 4 hurricane, which is the 100-year cycle storm. And yes, it does have a concrete roof that will never be blown off. There's complaints about leaking, but that can be solved so easily. I always wonder, why is that the problem? But you're spending so much money on the Climate Smart Hospital, which we are told it's some $150 million. And my Straight Talk family, we have not heard much about the hospital in terms of the bed capacity. And that's very important. I believe the JN France General Hospital has a 164 bed capacity. I stand to be corrected. But my Straight Talk family, we are looking closely in terms of what is in fact going on in terms of the development of this climate smart hospital. But those are my observations in review. I will leave them there for tonight because I want to spend some time on my thesis for tonight, which I just said I titled, for those of you who may have just joined me, I've titled my thesis, Seed, Socio-Economic and Environmental Disaster in St. Kitts Nevis. And my Straight Talk family, ever since Terence Michael July forced Denzel Douglas from the leadership position of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, the party has been divided. It was not a smooth transition, but as faith or some other political conviction would have it, 8 or 9 months thereafter, Terence Michael July became the Prime Minister of St. Kitts Nevis, as one of his constituents would say, the Rastaman, by default. And many have concurred with that conclusion. It is reliably rumored, my Straight Talk family, that Terence Michael July has never forgiven Ambassador Larry Vaughan for his Facebook post in which he opined that Dr. July was unconstitutionally elected. Larry Vaughan posted this on his Facebook some time ago. I'm sure we all will remember this. Larry Vaughan posted on his Facebook page that he, meaning Dr. Jew, as I said, was unconstitutionally elected, as you can see there on your screen, my Straight Talk family. So the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party broke its brand new spanking constitution today. That's what he wrote back then. On its first use, its new leader was unconstitutionally elected. And that is because Dr. July got 48% of the vote. The so-called engineer Conris Maynard got 45% of the vote. And the slow student back then got 7% of the vote. So there was no clear majority. And what should have happened, and I think this is what Larry was inferring, that it should have been a runoff between Conris and Terence Drew. But that never happened. But as a matter of fact, Larry Vaughan confided in a close comrade that July does not speak to him except through his peers, Nahima Hazel. And that is not conforming with proper protocol. It is further reported that July to this date has not considered it necessary either to mend fences with the senior minister, Denzel Douglas. But instead, he has preferred to flirt with the snake from across the Narrows, Mark Brantley. Remember, my Straight Talk family, when Douglas bellyached about the disrespect he was shown when the senior minister and former prime minister said this, my Straight Talk family.
What is disrespectful to me is that people want me to go and contest with them. I am not contesting with anyone. It has never happened in our party before. For the 90 years of the party, no leader has been challenged in that way. And it is not going to start with me. If people can say that they would want me to support in that way for the extra 6 months, then I prefer not to be there. And so I ask you to consider what I have said. I wanted to clarify this matter because I think it is totally disrespectful when people are saying, oh, Douglas must go. Douglas wants to stay here forever. This is what is being said by our own comrades around. And I feel very, very disrespected when people will make statements of that kind. Of course, you can say you don't want Douglas. You can have someone else. But to say that I want to stay here forever and I must go on that kind of nonsense, I feel disrespected because I don't think it is necessary and I don't think it is true at all.
But my Straight Talk family, after 2 years and more in office though, there is widespread concurrence or a common view amongst the populace that the most incompetent prime minister St. Kitts Nevis has ever had is this man from Monkey Hill named Terence Michael July. Through no fault of his, we are told by some who are close to July that he's biologically confused. We are told that his academic ability is overrated and his mental state at times seems unstable. Very early in his tenure, fancy terms or buzzwords like polycrisis seemed to have excited him, and he spoke quite a lot about this, my straight dog family.
St. Kitts and Nevis at this present moment, as a small island developing state, is dealing with a number of crises. We're in a polycrisis type of situation. I want our people to hear this. And because we're in a polycrisis situation with a new war, increasing fuel costs internationally, the government, the administration, we have taken the decision to protect our people as much as possible. We as a people have to now be clear as to where we want to go. And understanding all these polycrises, the government would have to make decisions to make sure that we continue to protect St. Kitts and Nevis. Some of the decisions would have to be tough decisions.
But did he really understand, we asked the question, the complexity of our interconnected world with multiple crises such as climate change, economic instability, political unrest, and public health emergencies that converge and compounded each other? Complexity is a word that needs emphasis, as polycrises create a challenging environment for policymakers and countries as they must navigate numerous variables and unintended consequences. But terms like polycrisis and others he has employed, such as the Multidimensional Vulnerability Index, the MVI, and Sustainable Island State, come across as being trendy. A sustainable island state, for example, suggests that an island nation like St. Kitts Nevis will have to effectively balance environmental preservation, social equity, and economic development. However, it is his latest buzzword he calls seed that has caught my immediate attention, my straight dog family. And he said this just recently.
How can we diversify the economy to make sure that we are more resilient, stable, and of course will lead to more prosperity? And so we are calling this SEED, SEED, which stands for Sustainable Economic Expansion and Diversification. I think it's a term that most of our people can understand. But of course, I'm asking for all of our people to be a part of this. I've been planning this for a pretty long time. I think from early on in the administration, I would have been speaking about a sustainable island state. This is part of what a sustainable island state is. Economic expansion and diversification in a sustainable way, which will make sure that we make St. Kitts and Nevis as resilient and as prosperous as possible. And so with respect to those pillars, as they are encapsulated in that acronym SEED, we are seeking to do a number of critical things to move forward in the short term, medium term, and of course the long term.
And my straight dog family, July explained the acronym as Sustainable Economic Expansion and Diversification, SEED. But when we consider, however, the misleadership, the corruption, the nepotism, the lack of good governance, transparency, and accountability, our definition of the acronym SEED that best suits the Labour administration led by Terence Michael Drew is SEED, Socio-Economic and Environmental Disaster. I am certain that we will agree that it is generally accepted that disasters are not natural events, but they depend on the interaction between humans and the environment. Disasters are considered as serious disruptions of the functioning of a country or community at any scale due to hazardous or dangerous events interacting with conditions of exposure, vulnerability, and capacity, and leading to one or more of the following: human, material, economic, and environmental losses and impacts. But our Prime Minister comes across as someone who is quite perplexed, yes, mixed up, and one would have anticipated that his upbringing, or with his upbringing, I should say, he would have been a real champion of poverty eradication and a strong ally of the poor and vulnerable in our country. Instead, we have a Prime Minister and a government riding on the backs of the people and dipping daily into their pockets. As we all reflect on the elections of August 5th, 2022, most of us will agree that it was a man-made disaster in St. Kitts and Nevis. Think about it. Even during the coronavirus-induced pandemic, or COVID-19, which shut down the entire world, our country was doing better during COVID than it is doing now under this July Labour government. Yes, believe it or not, we were doing better back then. And I believe that the debate will continue in relation to who caused the disaster in the first place. Some would say Timothy Harris. Some would say Sean Richard. Some would say Mark Brantley. And others would say certainly it was caused by Sean Richards and Mark Brantley. But let us agree to disagree. Because growing up, we were all schooled to change the things we can and accept the things we cannot change. And we cannot change the fact that the best government we had since universal adult suffrage in 1952 imploded to the regret of those of us who live and work here in St. Kitts and Nevis. During COVID-19, more money was circulated in the economy than what is circulating now. Yes, we lost our freedom of movement because a state of emergency was declared and we were under lockdown, but money was in the country and everyone had food to eat. Not one worker, for example, was laid off as the Team Unity administration spent $300 million or more on payroll for salaries and wages by Straight Dog family.
So far, total disbursements from January to September have totaled $218 million. By year end, the government would have spent just about $300 million in payroll associated costs. Importantly, this government has not laid off one person to date, in spite of the dramatic reduction in our tax collections. We have really been an excellent example of what a good employer should do in times of emergencies and pandemics.
And my Straight Dog family, taxi drivers were subsidized. Bus drivers, my Straight Dog family, and those who lost workers in the service industry, like the hotels, were subsidized during COVID. Well, my Straight Dog family, what is happening today, what is happening now, is Terence Michael July has planted a bad seed. The poor decisions already made and the harmful behaviors will not lead to positive results. Actions rooted in negativity are unlikely to yield fruitful outcomes because positive values and behaviors are essential for growth and development. How can there be growth and development in St. Kitts and Nevis when our safety and security are under constant threat? People want to walk around their community without fear of being shot and killed. A few days ago, St. Kitts Nevis recorded its 29th murder. And let me forewarn you, this next PowerPoint is graphic. And this is what happens under a July administration. People are shot down dead in the streets of St. Kitts and Nevis, my Stray Dog family. This is the epitome of a St. Kitts Nevis under July. 29 murders, as I said, taking the tally for the last 2 years inclusive to 68 murders under Terence Michael July. People want to be able to pay for their groceries. Food, my Stray Dog family. How could they when we are not self-sufficient in the food we eat? I spoke to a farmer this morning who told me that he was planning to pack it up as all his produce is destroyed by the monkeys. I bought a nice watermelon from this farmer, and he complained that whenever and whatever he plants, they are destroyed by the monkeys. When asked about the damage that the monkeys are doing to crops, the Minister Samuel Duggins provided no solution. All Samuel did, my Stray Dog family, all Samuel did was to confirm the size of the monkey population. That's all he did. And that's all, my Stray Dog family.
We recognize that the issue with feral animals would have been a long-standing issue for agriculture in this country. We have at the top of the list in St. Kitts the monkeys and wild pigs, and in Nevis, while they have some bit of those at the top of their list, will also be donkeys. And so the issue isn't an issue that has gone unchecked. However, when you look at it, we have done some research. We've had a consultant in, and we estimate that the population of monkeys has grown tremendously. They're anticipating right now from research that there's about over 30,000 on St. Kitts alone.
And yes, my Stray Dog family, he gave us the population size of the monkeys that roam all over our land. But he gave not a hint of a solution. Yes, not a hint of a solution was given by the minister. Water. People want to turn on their taps at any given time and get water running every second, minute, and hour of the day. Not so in Taylor's Village, not so in Buckley's, not so in College House and Pine Gardens, Shadwell East or West, and Ways Garden, my Stray Dog family. Because this release from the Water Service Department gives you an idea of how the people suffer from the water shortage. And this is because, my Stray Dog family, this is because, believe it or not, Bede drilled 2 wells in Shadwell, Shadwell 1 and Shadwell 2. This well was commissioned, my Stray Dog family. And all of a sudden we were told that the Water Services Department called in the Bureau of Standards to test that well. And the Bureau of Standards found that the water was not fit for human consumption. It is the same thing, my straight dog family, with this other well, Shadwell 2, which after 7 years has not been commissioned. It is still capped, my straight dog family. For the same reason, the water has a high arsenic content and declared unfit for human consumption. And my straight dog family, what is the Soco engineer doing? I remember when the snake, Mark Brantley, told us in the cabinet to stay far from Bede. And he recently announced his own experience with Bede when he said this.
As I indicated publicly before, we had made a commitment to have an additional 3 wells done at a global cost of 10 million EC dollars back in 2017. In fact, it was in August of 2017 that we paid to a company called Bede just over 2 million EC dollars as a down payment. Bede has never come to do the work for the government. And so we don't have our $2 million and we don't have any wells. We have decided to take legal action against Bede that is ongoing. So it has not been for want of trying in relation to water.
But my straight dog family, Bede has drilled 3 wells in St. Kitts, and 2 of them, 2 of the 3 wells to date have been condemned. And the 3rd well that was drilled generate complaints from many residents in Keon who continue to vent about the stench that comes from their water pipes when they are open. And we ask the question, why is the Soco engineer so silent on this matter? Why? But ask yourselves one question, my straight dog family, a simple one. Are you better off today than you were before August the 5th, 2022? Electricity was more reliable and more affordable. Why would they have to rent 6 generators, my straight dog family, that will cost at the end of the 3-year period $30 million US dollars? That's over 80 million EC dollars. Why couldn't they buy the generators? We bought mobile generators. You can buy them off the shelf. But my straight dog family, these are the issues that come to the fore. Housing was for the poor and not just for the bankable. Water was available 24/7. Living was much better back then than now, my straight dog family. The CBI made money, my straight dog family, and no criminal like Philippe Martinez was ever approved as an investor with the proper due diligence. And my straight dog family, I must say to you, my straight dog family, in closing, many of you have called me today and extended your support. And I am grateful for your many words of comfort. But I want to reassure you here and now that as a soldier in the army of Almighty God, if I die, I will die with my guns in my hand. Yes, see my gun. These are my guns. Yes, these are my guns, my straight dog family. Can you see them? So, there's divine protection all around us and all around me, for those of us who believe. God leads and protects his people in times of conflict or challenge, symbolizing strength and unity among all believers. My Straight Talk family, there has been quite a lot of talk about special envoys and ambassadors. Yes, I'm sure you've heard this talk, my Straight Talk family.
As a matter of fact, I have a number of envoys who are Kittitians and Nevisians living abroad. I can tell you that.
And yes, my Straight Talk family, many of them who are paid handsomely as well. Some of them are paid handsomely. But I want us to reflect for a moment on the terms envoy and ambassador, as both refer to diplomatic representatives, but they have distinct meanings and roles in international relations. An ambassador, for example, is a high-ranking official appointed by the government to represent it in a foreign country. And ambassadors are typically responsible for managing the diplomatic missions or embassies and maintaining bilateral relationships. And my Straight Talk family, you will glean from this presentation on your screens that there was a proof, my Straight Talk family, under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Approval was granted by the Parliament, as you can see, for 5 ambassadors. Read carefully. 5 ambassadors and 2 high commissioners. Have you seen it, my Straight Talk family? 5 ambassadors were approved by the Parliament and high commissioners 2. This is the authority that was given by the Parliament as per the approved positions, my Straight Talk family. But when it comes to the powers and responsibilities and functions of ambassadors, they often have broad authority to negotiate treaties, represent their country at official functions, and engage with local governments. Ambassadors or high commissioners report directly to their home country's government. And my Straight Talk family, they are usually the highest ranking diplomats in their missions. An envoy, however, on the other hand, is a diplomatic agent, often of lower rank than an ambassador. And the term can refer to various types of representatives, such as special envoys or envoys extraordinary, who are sent for specific missions or tasks. Envoys should focus on particular issues such as peace, negotiation, or humanitarian efforts, and the authority can vary depending on the mission to which they are assigned, my Straight Talk family. But envoys may not hold the same level of authority or rank as ambassadors and may report to them in certain contexts. But my Straight Talk family, in summary, while both envoys and ambassadors serve as representatives of their governments, and this government has ambassadors and envoys, and ambassadors hold a higher rank and broader responsibilities of often overseeing entire diplomatic missions, whereas envoys are typically tasked with, like I said before, specific missions or issues and may operate at a lower rank. Dr. July, since taking office, has spent money as if it was out of style. He has spent money like a drunken sailor at times. Now, July has not been transparent about anything. Worse yet, the ambassadors or special envoys. Recently, he said that he needed to get a list. A list, he said he needed. And he said this.
To say the diaspora is playing a critical role already. And I'll call on them. Dr. Wade, all the way down to Dr. Carlin Moore, I will call on them and tell them they need to serve. We have a number of others serving, such as Wawel Nero, who is in Philadelphia. I need to get a list so that people can know who all they are. And if I forgot any of their names, it's not for anything except that I will mention it at another time.
But he don't need the list. The country needs the list. He mentioned Warren Nero. Is he an ambassador or a special envoy? The country needs to know this, my Straight Dog family. The country needs to know this. Well, Dr. July today circulated a Facebook post accusing me of something I don't understand. So I promised to read it carefully tonight after my show, as I was quite occupied today. And it's a very long post. From what I scanned of this post, however, there is talk about someone being a minor, and it made reference to Article 16 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, the UNCRC, to which I'm quite familiar. But let's ask ourselves, if this is a minor who does not work, my Straight Dog family, where does he get money from to fund this expensive initiative that was reported in the media? Where does this minor get money from to fund this expensive initiative? And this is what was reported by the press, by the media. And it reads, Terence Jr. launches back to school initiative, entering the new school year on the right foot. So what is this talk about a minor? So my Straight Talk family, all we are asking for, all that we need, yes, what we need, therefore, is full disclosure. The country needs full disclosure. And we must be told, did this minor receive any pay at all from the government treasury, and for what? My Straight Dog family. These are some of the issues that will come to the fore in due course, my Straight Dog family. For tonight, we are going to focus nonetheless on how do we escape the fiscal quagmire the country is in. How do we ensure that all individuals have access to essential services, my Straight Dog family? Economic expansion and diversification refers to growth that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And this type of expansion can be characterized as environmental. There can be, or there must be, social equity. And what about long-term viability, innovation and efficiency, my Straight Dog family? Sectoral diversification, for example, needs expansion beyond the sale of industries, agriculture, tourism, and what have you, my Straight Dog family. But like I said, before, and help me to repeat it. We are going to focus tonight on how we escape the fiscal quagmire in which the country has been put by this bunch of incompetent experts. And we must ensure that all individuals have access to essential services. And the question we ask, how do we escape, my Straight Dog family, seed, the socio-economic and environmental disaster that is pending in St. Kitts and Nevis? And that's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I'm not going to change it. I will open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. When I do so, which will be momentarily, I anticipate that you will ensure, my Straight Dog family, that you be fair to all concerned. Let us ensure, my Straight Dog family, that there will be goodwill and better friendships. And in saying and doing those things, let us ensure that they will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and or doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, I go to the lines. Caller, you live. Hello,
it's a good night.
How is the Bible man tonight? How is the Bible man?
The Bible man is wonderful, Mr. Patrick. I have a wonderful day today.
You did? Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about the Lord, and I'm thinking about my fellow men.
Oh.
Because God will deliver me from a lot of things. Now, what Pastor Scripture have to say tonight? Psalm 37.
Fret not thyself.
Verse 25. I was young, Mr. Patrick.
Yes.
Now I'm old.
Mm-hmm.
I neither see the righteous forsaken, yet I neither see the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Pastor, let me tell you something tonight here. When God called you, and God really look after you, and God has called you, and He ain't left you there. Because He said in Psalm 50, the world is mine. He said, a cattle 1,000 in belongs to me. He said, if I was hungry, I would not tell you. So when God called a man, He picked him up, Mr. Patrick. And He looked after him, Mr. Patrick. Sometimes I think about things that come to my attention, and all of a sudden, about a couple hours after, a thing come. So I am telling somebody tonight, put their confidence in God and God alone. And when anything happens, the Bible said, touch not the Lord anointed and do his prophet no harm. Listen, anybody touch John James, they in serious trouble. And I'm saying tonight, as the Bible man said, I am saying, Mr. Patrick, I know God. And I'm asking people to put their confidence in God. God will deliver from any trouble. Patrick, and I'm telling you tonight, Mr. Patrick, listen here. And this passage scripture is for you. Psalm 54, verse 17. No weapon that form against you shall prosper.
Yes. Yes.
And every tongue that rises against thee in judgment shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servant of the Lord, and their righteousness of me. But when you get up a morning time, you hear? Read Romans chapter 8 and verse 37. Name all these things. You are more than conquerors to them that say that a morning time and continue to possess it. You are the conqueror. Parties, good night. Have a pleasant night.
Have a pleasant night as well. You've had your sit tonight for a long time. That's the Bible man. And I think you'll be happy you got your position back. We go right back to the lines and say, caller, you're live.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, my dear. How about thou tonight?
I am great. The quote for this evening. Environment is no one's property to destroy. It's everyone's responsibility to protect. I repeat, environment is no one's property to destroy. It's everyone's responsibility to protect. Have a great evening.
Thank you, my dear. It's everyone's responsibility to protect. Everyone's responsibility to protect. Environment is no one's property to destroy. It's everyone's responsibility to protect. I think I got that right. Yes, my Straight Talk family. It's 9 o'clock to the top of the hour. If you have just joined me, welcome to another edition of Straight Talk. I know many of you would have been anticipating quite a lot, but I'll get back to that. Let's go to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Straight Talk.
How is my dear brother from another mother?
Your brother from another mother is good. How are you, my brother?
Abracadabra. I am peaceful.
Abracadabra, you stumped me. Mr. Straight Talk, you stumped me. How are you, my brother?
I am peaceful. What about yourself? What
Can I say, man, all is well. I'm doing well, and I give God thanks unto the Bible man John James. I can't wait to see him whenever God help me to get to St. Kitts. So everything.
I'm not complaining. I take it one day at a time, as the Bible man said. You have confidence and trust in the Lord. I think some part in the good book says once you trust in the Lord, He'll never let you be ashamed. So.
But that's what it is. I always tell people, my father teach all of us, and he said, listen, everything you do, put God first. Now, my father wasn't a Christian, but he believed in God because of his father teaching. My father never know his mother.
Okay.
And the sunny day that my father born, his mother died, I think it's about 12 o'clock. So she only put him on the bed, and that was it. And it's amazing that he raised, people raise him up and he tell us what they did from what they didn't do to him. And with God, he come. And if somebody can raise a child in the 1915s to be a man, it's 100% better today. Because look at it, they had nothing in those times. Mm-hmm. But Mr. Straser, that's enough. I just say good night to my people, my brother Alvin and his son George Reed, and my good friend Lyda, and my good friend there, my brother from another mother, Ellis, they're listening. And straight up, it was so funny that my brother come this week, last week, and tell me that this young guy is listening to you. I don't know his name, but I know he's from Harrisburg, one of those Francis. And he's listening to you, and he loves your show. So, my little Francis friend there, I just want to tell you that you're in good company. Mr. Strader, I'm giving you some homework. But how come St. Kitts I'll sit back so flat and not say nothing about the smart house? Mr. Strader, he come like that. The people just, they take everything quiet. These people said they're going to build all these smart house and thing, and they're going to, and I'm waiting for you, where they're going to build that first set. They never says nothing. No, we say go in and build a hospital, and that's the first thing a man do now. When a man going to build a house, he going to say, listen, I'm building me a house. He say, but how much bedroom? He say, well, I want 3 bedroom because, you know, you got to do things. But this man is going to build a hospital, and you don't know the layout of the hospital is just a hospital. It's just a hospital. So what, they going to go 5 room or 10 room or what? He says nothing about the hospital, but he's going to build a smart climate hospital. I don't know. But Mr. Straightak, I want you to do some homework for me. Did the people still have the water buckets and hookup yet?
Yes. You know, I fell down on that. I should have got some pictures to provide my evidence. Yes, but the water buckets are still.
Lord, I even forget to say good night to my lovely niece there in St. Louis. Lovely niece, how are you? On Texas screen, I almost forget you guys. I'm my brother Culture. Straightak, did you find out anything about your bucket? You thank him for it.
Yes.
I think it's you know to tell yourself what you're going to do with that bucket now.
Yes, certainly. Yes.
Understand? So you either take that bucket up and carry it in your house, or you put it outdoor. If it's too big to go in the house, you put it outdoor and you're going to leave it there. So it's you on your own. But he says that they're going to give them out, and over 500, I think he says, were already distributed. Anyway, Mr. Straightak, I thank you so much because I don't want to stay long, but I just want you to do your homework for me. Give me some running about the water buckets. Understand? And what really going on with the house building, because the people just they're sitting back. Remember they said they're going to build it in the next 4 years. So now it's 3 more years they have to go in office. So can they get them built? No.
Okay, interesting, my brother. But nice to hear your voice.
You got your homework for
Yes.
I understand. So I'll listen to you on Sunday or Saturday, whichever one. But my brother, I want you to take care of yourself. You are doing a wonderful job. The people are listening, and then I say nothing. They just wait until they meet somebody. I listen to Straightak now. I say, what? That's the kind of thing that people do. So they are listening to you. You're doing a wonderful job. So take care of yourself until I come your way, my brother. Be good. Abracadabra. Vaya con Dios.
Vaya con Dios también. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you live.
A pleasant good evening to you.
How I recognize his voice from the start. How is my dimple lady?
I'm good. How is you?
I am peaceful.
Okay. Glad to hear. That is, we put a psychopath in this country here. And he don't want a psychopath.
Psychopath, okay.
Yeah. He don't want nobody to ask him no question.
True.
If he don't want nobody to ask him no question, he need to step out. When you put up yourself in public office, look out for a lot of questions to ask. And he ain't going to answer none yet, you know. Because he have a lot more questions yet to answer. We're going to ask him. Not you. We're going to ask him the question. He got you make the country running good. He want to come rich quick. So he went and bought the election. And now he gone in and question coming at him. He can't take it. Well, I'm going to ask him now. I asked the boy on the other day. He said he meet the country, he meet the bank and Social Security in shambles. And I just want to ask him, since he met the bank and the Social Security in shambles, where are he get all those money to travel overseas? When you turn 15, it's 14. When you turn 14, it's 12. When he turned 12, is 11. When he turned 11, is 10. But he make the country in shambles. So where he get all those money from, and to pay all those advisors. Some who can walk, try to hold on and walker, don't go home retire and bring them back to work and pay them $10,000. Where he get all those money since he made everything in shambles? And where he get the money? I would like to know if he get it from the bank account, because if you ain't make nothing in a bank, then that means you put in your money to help. So let him come and answer those questions. And that is not all. He have a few more there to answer. So let him prepare and make up his mind to either answer the question them or get out the driver's seat, because he cannot drive. He's a psychopath. That is, you have a blessed night.
Thank you very much. And, it's a very pertinent question you ask, a matter that you raise, in terms of accountability, because they don't want to account for nothing or to nobody.
No.
You know what I mean?
He don't want to do nothing because what? He ain't know what he doing. You see people gone in the government, and he was gone in government and he ain't know what he doing. So he don't want nobody to ask him a question. Exactly. If he don't want nobody to ask him no question, get out the driver's seat and go back and do what he was doing. That more suit him, because this government here, what he bought, he ain't working for him because he don't know what he doing. He's a psychopath.
Thank you very much, my dear.
You have a blessed night.
Have a blessed night as well. Always welcome your contributions. And that's the thing that's so bothersome, You are a government. You talk about good governance. You talk about transparency. You talk about integrity in public life. And you don't want to ask no questions. You don't want to account to nobody. Something got to be wrong with that. As this good lady said, it's probably a psychopath. Good night, Patches reads this email. I have noticed a trend since the 2022 general elections in St. Kitts, Nevis, with the Snake, Mark Brantley, and Dr. July administrations are in competition with each other to see which one of them can appoint the youngest persons to positions within the civil service. Then they beat their chests and boast how they appoint young persons, this and young person that, to XYZ posts. Experience is no longer the watchword or forms part of the crucial prerequisite for appointment patches. Patches are all about putting young persons in high positions. But what about the experienced persons who have been there through thick and thin and are the rudder, the engine, the compass, and the experienced crew driving this ship of state and have the know-how to get the job done par excellence? It is no wonder, Patches, that in these young persons' eyes, who are emboldened by the political misfits, the Snake and July, have embedded in the young people's psyche that once one is 40 years and older, they are deemed old and irrelevant and should sit at the back of the bus. In this case, Patches, there is an active campaign going on behind the scenes with persons who are 40 and over within the civil service in St. Kitts and Nevis, who have pounded the trail, rallied their families and friends to elect the Snake and Dr. July to political power. And now they are sidelined in favor of views and favorability by these wicked and vindictive administrations. We, the persons over 40, will not be disrespected anymore, as we will vote for parties who are all inclusive, both in word and deed. But come the next election, we will elect a government who is all inclusive and who will not segregate because of one's age, as CCM and Labour are doing right now. Labour and CCM only wanted our votes to get them elected. Then as soon as they won, they remembered we are old, then quickly discarded us to the garbage dumps at Connery and Long Point. We, the older voters in St. Kitts, are wetting our hands and waiting to vote these misfits and vagabonds out of power and elect a government who is all-inclusive. You can take this warning to the bank because it is as good as cash. Thank you, Patches. Read this email. Caller, you're live.
Hi, Patches. Hi, Patches. Good night.
Good night, my dear. How about thou?
I'm good. What about culture? He's okay? I haven't heard him for the last week at all.
You know, I feel bad about that. I will make sure I get get to him or my sister Joan.
Right. I'm backing up there your brother from another mother. Think about it. The hospital, the state-of-the-art hospital, and the smart hospital. Think about it. He did not say how much beds.
That is true.
To think about it, how much beds, how much rooms.
That's so
because if you're building a state-of-the-art hospital, a smart hospital, you got to come say they will have 300 beds. When they build in a hotel, they tell you how much rooms they're going to have when they build in a hotel. So how he's going to build this hospital and without you don't know how much rooms, so much beds going to be in it.
Bed capacity is important, yes.
Yeah, exactly. This is what you're supposed to put out to the people to know, well, that is the state-of-the-art hospital. We're going to get 300 beds or 10 beds or whatever. And second again, he gave his son a job for $10,000 where he be. What do you call it?
Well, he
ambassador.
He denied that, so we're going to look at that in detail some other time, right? So
he denied because I just wanted.
But we'll look at that in further detail. I can assure you.
Because I just wanted to know because he find job for his son and the Harris they mustn't eat. They mustn't have no kind of say. Everything Harris. What happened? They are not sit at St. Kitts.
Okay.
Everything they're talking about the Harris. They're not sit at St. Kitts where they don't leave the people alone. Harris going there meet them with a job and it remain that if Harris give them a job, he right because when he fall down, them is the first people gonna go down. So when he fall, them is the first people gonna meet. So I mean, they just the Harris. So anyway, let he come back and talk about the hospital, how much beds he gonna put in. Can't do with the animal hospital. Maybe it's animal hospital anyhow. If it's animal hospital, they don't have to put beds in it.
One healthy cell.
So. Okay. All the best. All right. Okay.
You call it One Health. Animal, the environment, and the humans, and what's the other one? I forgot. Dr. Simmons reads this email. I saw a photo with you, Dr. Drew, and Dr. Douglas posing, smiling and chatting. And I could have said, look at these three crooks. And you know why, Dr. Simmons? Especially with you. Douglas treated you so bad after you fall from government. He deprived you of your pension for years. You cried like a baby, begging him to give you your pension. You had to barge a CARICOM meeting in Antigua and plead with Lester Bird for him to tell Douglas, pay you your money. Jacinth Henry Martin even made up a mockery calypso on you, begging Douglas to pay you. I myself fell for you, especially when you said that the bank was going to foreclose on your house. With all that suffering you went through with Douglas, you have the heart to be taking a photo with he and Dr. Drew. Man Simmons, I'm very much disappointed with you. Reads this email. Dear Patches, it is said that Glenroy Blanchett is finding out the harsh reality of the vindictive nature of the Douglas and July Labour government, where they rolled out a red carpet of welcome to him. And as soon as they settled in, they soon yanked the rug from under his feet. What Fresh Face is finding out that Douglas hasn't forgiven him for all the bad things he had said and done to him and Labour, and given the fact that July is not in charge. Dougie is ensuring that Fresh Face is about to be pushed out of the PM's office and replaced by Keandre Weeks, the young man from Keon who just graduated from Cave Hill, Barbados, in law, and is being catapulted to be Fresh Face's deputy at the Ministry of National Security. Patches, every decision that Fresh Face makes, if they are not in favor of Weeks, he would rescind them, and Fresh Face dare not lift a finger, as Weeks constantly reminds Fresh Face that he is not a Labour man. Just recently, Patches, at the Ministry's budget meeting, Weeks went on a virtual tirade and cleansing spree, as in the midst of the budget meeting, he openly insulted Fresh Face and numerous heads of departments by pulling a document from HR, and instead of discussing the budget, he went around the table demanding of them one by one when they will go home. Even though some of these people have their annual extension, Weeks demanded that they rescind their extension and go home. He then openly attacked Fresh Face by reminding him that he will turn 60 on the 31st of March 2025 and he needs to pack his bag and go home. All Fresh Face could have done was to hang his head in perpetual shame as Weeks rolled over, everyone like a loaded freight train. Weeks even asked the gathering if they know that his mother is a Pierce, Chef Chesdo Tyson, and we have Dr. July and his Pierce mother's consent for his political cleansing of the ministry. To see that Weeks really had Dr. July cleansing order in the meeting, there was a large post for jobs advertised throughout all government departments, including the press. And one of the posts was for the Force Finance Officer's position. Since that meeting, Patches, a number of persons have sent in their retirement letters as they decided that July and Fresh Face are incapable of running this ministry, and they prefer to go home instead of undergoing these insults and humiliation from Weeks, actively aided and abetted by Dr. July and his Pierce mom. Thank you, Patches. Reads this email. It seems like he is suffering from amnesia. He is one who said all ambassadors are paid $10,000 monthly. And on another occasion, he labeled the fact that $10,000 was any money, which suggests that the ambassadors are underpaid. If the little boy is not getting $10,000, then say how much he's being paid. Why are you so afraid to say how much? You and your fascist cronies are doing all in your powers to shut down Straight Talk, the only enlightened opposition voice in the Federation. And for all those favorable commentators of yours, I say, how pathetic and sad. Begging for apologies is nonsensical. Do what is right and start speaking the truth. Straight Talk is not intimidated by your basest threats. Reads this email. I would like Mr. Astafan to do a commentary on the systemic corruption pervading in the government offices. And in so doing, Mr. Astafan, what is your opinion on civil servants and ministers of government using government vehicles and still collecting traveling allowances, living in government houses and still collecting housing allowances? Why should these public servants shortchange the system when they should know better? That is why everyone is doing what they like in the system, because those who should set the example are fully embedded in extensive corrupt practices, and they do not possess the moral authority to sanction the violators. What a shame, reads this other email. Good evening, Ambassador. Hope you're peaceful and well as staying safe. I must commend you on your informative program last Thursday. Your topics were informative and very thought-provoking. I watched members of the press interviewing Dr. Drew, and it was like Dr. Drew is giving a speech and the members of the press are just listening. They were afraid of doing their job. Thanks to you. You are enlightened and educated. You need to teach them what investigative journalism is. Please continue to stay safe and focus. Happy belated birthday, Ilva, with this email. Thanks for the commendation. We go to the lines and say, caller, I thank you for holding. Hello, caller.
Mr. Liburd, how are you, sir?
I am peaceful. And yourself?
Oh, I'm trying to be peaceful, but I've got to learn the art from you.
Yes.
Yeah, back to since the topic is a bit on the hospital tonight, the new hospital. Mm-hmm. Quite a few. Besides him not mentioning, giving any kind of specifics about this hospital, except to say it's environmentally, not sorry, climate safe and all kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I've noticed in the past on a few occasions, I've heard it recently, where he mentioned, he called it a name as Joseph in France as well. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering if he's going to give it the same name as the old hospital up in the Buckley's area. Mm-hmm. Because I really don't see any sense in that. One would figure that if you're building a new hospital, give it a name in recognition of some doctor who has made some considerable contribution to the community. Mm-hmm. I don't like naming hospitals after politicians and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Because they haven't really done the medical side of things for the people. They might have worked as a Ministry of Health or something, but it's not the same thing as a doctor being at the hospital 23 hours a day and that kind of thing, and saving lives and that kind of thing. As I was wondering, a name like maybe Cuthbert Sebastian, Dr. Cuthbert Sebastian Hospital, or some other name like that would be good for any new hospital that Dr. Drew finds the money to build. I don't know what you think about that.
That sounds reasonable. You know, that's a good point. You know, and they keep the politicians away from it. I understand.
Yes, yeah, because it's a medical facility. It's a medical facility. You know, give some doctor some recognition. Yep. Somebody who has made a significant, in my view, a significant contribution. There may be others who think, well, otherwise there may be other doctors who also made significant contributions before Sebastian or something, but that was just my thought.
Interesting thought, my brother.
Something for you to bounce around.
Yes.
But then the other thing that we need to, I wonder if in this new hospital we're getting anything like a psychiatric ward, because we do need a bit of a crazy house on the place. Since they shut down the crazy house down there in the village, now everybody squeezed up in some little rooms up in the JNF yard. And I don't know if later on, with the pressures that you under, you might lose it and have to put in a lunatic asylum or something of the sort.
It may become mentally unstable.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yes. I would like him to be comfortable, so we should build a decent lunatic asylum for him and for others like him. If he goes along that path.
You're thinking deep, my brother.
I have to look after my Prime Minister, you know.
I could imagine, yes.
Yeah, because he's under pressure, and sometimes people crack under pressure, you know.
Yes.
Because the state in which he has the finances of the country now, I foresee problems, and a lot is going to land in his lap. You can see a lot of rebellions and that kind of thing, unless he turns the finance of this country around. Because tourism not looking too healthy at the moment, and the citizenship by investment, he already said it, gone down a street. So, if he fails, we all fail, we all suffer. We're back in the hands of the IMF. And in the hands of the IMF, you know, the stress and problems for the citizens, everybody in the country.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyhow, have a good night, man.
Thanks for your contribution. As usual, have yourself a wonderful night as well. And for those of you who may have just joined me, or may have joined me late, we are in fact discussing our thesis for tonight: SEED, Socio-Economic and Environmental Disaster. And we, in fact, looked, my Straight Dog family, we reflected on where we came from some 2 years ago, when we, by default, is the word I use, got this Prime Minister, Dr. July. Ever since he forced Denzel Douglas from the leadership position of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And we know that the party is divided. It was not a smooth transition, but as faith or some other political conviction would have it, 8 or 9 months thereafter, Terence Michael July became Prime Minister of St. Kitts Nevis by default, as one of his constituents, the Rastaman, advanced, and many have concurred with that conclusion. We know, in fact, I made mention that he has not forgiven the CARICOM ambassador, Larry Vaughan, who, in commenting on the meeting, did in fact post this on his page, his Facebook page, and said that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party broke its brand spanking new constitution on its first use back then, and went on to boldly state that its new leader was unconstitutionally elected. And Larry Vaughan confided in a close comrade that Dr. July does not speak to him, and uses the channel of his peers, Nahima Hazel. It is further reported that July to this date has not considered it necessary either to really mend fences with the senior minister, Denzel Douglas. But instead, he continues to flirt with the snake across the narrows, Mark Brantley. And we recall, like I said, when Douglas, it was leaked that Douglas said he was disrespected. Remember this, my Straight Dog family.
What is disrespectful to me is that people want me to go and contest with them. I am not contesting with anyone. It has never happened in our party before. For the 90 years of the party, no leader has been challenged in that way. And it is not going to start with me. If people can say that they would want me to support in that way for the extra 6 months, then I prefer not to be there. And so I ask you to consider what I have said. I wanted to clarify this matter because I think it is totally disrespectful when people are saying, oh, Douglas must go. Douglas wants to stay here forever. This is what is being said by our own comrades around. And I feel very, very disrespected when people will make statements of that kind. Of course, you can say you don't want Douglas. You can have someone else. But to say that I want to stay here forever and I must go on that kind of nonsense, I feel disrespected because I don't think it is necessary and I don't think it is true at all.
And after 2 years and more in office, there's widespread concurrence, or there's a common view amongst the population, the populace, that the most incompetent Prime Minister St. Kitts Nevis has ever had is this man from Monkey Hill called Terence Michael Drew. Through no fault of his, we are told by some who are close to July that he is biologically confused, his academic ability is overrated, and his mental state at times seems unstable. Very early in his tenure, fancy terms or buzzwords like polycrisis seem to have excited July. There's some words seem to have just excited July, which he used quite often, like this one, my Straight Talk family.
St. Kitts and Nevis, at this present moment, as a small island developing state, is dealing with a number of crises. We're in a polycrisis type of situation. I want our people to hear this. And because we're in a polycrisis situation with a new war, increasing fuel costs internationally, the government, the administration, we have taken the decision to protect our people as much as possible. We as a people have to now be clear as to where we want to go. And understanding all these polycrises, the government would have to make decisions to make sure that we continue to protect St. Kitts and Nevis. Some of the decisions would have to be tough decisions.
And we asked the question, my Straight Talk family, did July really understand the complexity of our interconnected world where multiple crises, such as climate change, economic instability, political unrest, and public health emergencies that converge and compounded each other? Complexity is a word that really needs emphasis, as polycrises create a challenging environment for policymakers and countries as they navigate numerous variables and unintended consequences. But terms like polycrisis and others July has employed, such as the Multidimensional Vulnerability Index, the MVI, and he lately been using the Sustainable Island State. But to him, it seems as though they come across as being trendy. A sustainable island state, for example, suggests that an island nation like St. Kitts Nevis will have to effectively balance environmental preservation, social equity, social fairness, and economic development, my Straight Talk family. However, it is his latest buzzword, my Straight Talk family, that really caught my immediate attention when he said and spoke about seed.
How can we diversify the economy to make sure that we are more resilient, stable, and of course will lead to more prosperity? And so we are calling this SEED, SEED, which stands for Sustainable Economic Expansion and Diversification. I think it's a term that most of our people can understand. But of course, I'm asking for all of our people to be a part of this. I've been planning this for a pretty long time. I think from early on in the administration, I would have been speaking about a sustainable island state. This is part of what a sustainable island state is. Economic expansion and diversification in a sustainable way, which will make sure that we make St. Kitts and Nevis as resilient and as prosperous as possible. And so with respect to those pillars, as they are encapsulated in that acronym SEED, we are seeking to do a number of critical things to move forward in the short term, medium term, and of course the long term.
So he explained the acronym SEED as Sustainable Economic Expansion and Diversification. But when we consider, however, the misleadership, my Straight Talk family, the corruption, the nepotism, the lack of good governance, transparency, and accountability. Our definition, Straight Talk's definition of the acronym SEED, that best suits the Labour administration led by Terence Michael July, is SEED, Socio-Economic and Environmental Disaster. And I'm certain that we will agree that it is generally accepted that disasters are not natural events, but they depend on the interaction between humans and environment. My Straight Talk family, our Prime Minister comes across as someone who is quite mixed up, perplexed, and one would have anticipated that with his upbringing, he would have been a real champion of poverty eradication and a strong ally of the poor and vulnerable in our country. Instead, we have a Prime Minister riding on the backs of the people and dipping daily into their pockets. And when we reflect on the elections of August the 5th, most of us will agree that it was a man-made disaster. We look at what's happening today, my Straight Talk family. I'll take some of these emails and get back to our thesis. For those who have just joined us, welcome. Another thing, Dr. Simmons reads this email. Apart from Mark Brantley, who boasted that he was the prime mover and catalyst for the breaking up of Team Unity with his mantra that Harris either resolve or he will resolve Team Unity. And he did in fact carry out his threat. But that as it may, Dr. Simmons, I find that you were a contributing factor for the Team Unity disintegration. You went on the air campaigning for Liburd, talking some stupidness about Harris was planning to overthrow Douglas government. You have the heart, Dr. Simmons, to call that word overthrow. Well, tell us what part you played in the attempted overthrow of Bradshaw on the 10th of June 1967. And why did you hustle out to the Bahamas when Bradshaw started locking up the PAM leaders for the failed overthrow? And we still want to know why you fired Mike Powell as your deputy without saying what offense he had committed. Bearing in mind, Powell himself has said on numerous occasions he has no knowledge of any wrongdoing on his part, and he's patiently waiting on you to tell the Federation what offenses he committed, and you dare not lie on him, otherwise he will expose all of your nefarious behavior and secrets. Is that you are afraid of? You ought to be ashamed of yourself, walking, looking company with Douglas reads this email. Patches, July full of joke, talking about his son is a minor. That's not the same minor he got on trips at the UN and up in government business overseas. The pictures are all over the internet to prove. So when he's on these trips, does July use different credit card to pay a separate bill, or is government's money? Does the same minor have different bodyguards, or it's the Secret Service protection he's under? July, full of joke. The big life sweet him. Why you think he liked to travel so much? Reads this email. Mr. Liburd, I am fed up of Labour and Jew. These people are heartless, unconcerned, and don't give a damn about anybody. The next elections, and I hope they are very near, all we need is 6 seats, and I'll tell you how. The people of Nevis are being treated like castaways, and that's because of Mark Brantley. So the next elections, they vote him out, and then the party or candidates who wins that seat join as one. no CCM, no NRP. One party with one goal, and that is to serve the people of Nevis. After that, all we need, beg your pardon, is 3 down here in St. Kitts, and we get them out. Run, we walk from there. This time we'll get it right, and we, the people, will make sure it stays that way. Labor time is over. Reads this other email. Dwyer's recent commentary was hard-hitting last week. Ministers in all these suits in hot climate. Stay tuned. More to come. Reads this email. Good night, Patches. I would like to say to the person who spoke about fresh face, Glenroy Blanchard's challenges with his young deputy. Let Glenroy take what he is getting. He is nothing but a political prostitute, and it was a wrong decision and a slap in Labour's face to have him appointed in that post just for kissing July paddle seat. Let him see again about the rats in the cabinet. Reads this email. Yes, I've dispensed of my emails. I'll perhaps take a few more calls, my Stray Dog family, as we are just on the winding down moments on Straight Talk for those of you who joined us again belatedly. As I said, our thesis tonight we've titled Seed, a socio-economic, beg your pardon, an environmental disaster. But as I was saying before I went to the emails, that during COVID-19, and this may sound strange, but more money was circulating in the economy than what is circulating now. Yes, we lost our freedom of movement because of the state of emergency that was declared. And we were under lockdown. But money was in the country. And everyone had food to eat, my Straight Dog family. Not one worker was laid off as the Team Unity administration spent $300 million or more on payroll for salaries and wages. Yes, that's what happened, my Straight Dog family.
So far, total disbursements from January to September have totaled $218 million. By year end, the government would have spent just about $300 million in payroll associated costs. Importantly, this government has not laid off one person today.
Talking about seed. But what is happening today? What is happening now is Terence Michael July has planted a bad seed, my Straight Dog family, a very bad seed. The poor decisions already made, and the harmful behaviors will not lead to positive results, because actual negativity are unlikely to yield fruitful outcomes, because positive values and behaviors are essential for growth and development. How can there be growth and development in St. Kitts Nevis when our safety and security are under threat? People want to walk around their community without fear of being shot and killed, like the 29th murder we had just a few days ago. People want poor and not just the bankable. My Straight Dog family, the CBI money was bountiful. The citizenship by investment made money. But in closing, my Straight Dog family, as we wind down tonight's programming, I want to say to you again, for the many of you who called me today and extended your support, I'm eternally grateful for your many words of comfort. But please be reassured. Let me reassure you, here and now, my Straight Dog family, that as a soldier in the army of Almighty God, if ever I die before my appointed time, I will die with my guns in my hand. Yes, to be clear, these are my guns, my two palms. You see them? These are my guns. That's how I will die. Because I know there will be divine protection. Because God leads and protects his people in times of conflict or challenge, symbolizing strength and unity amongst or among all believers. My Straight Dog family, I must remind you that there has been quite a lot of talk about special envoys and ambassadors who are paid handsomely, some of them. I explained the terms envoy and ambassador and told you that both refer to diplomatic representatives, but they have distinct meanings and roles in international relations. An ambassador is a high-ranking official appointed by a government to represent it in a foreign country, my Straight Dog family. Whereas an envoy should be just a diplomatic agent and often of lower rank than an ambassador. But what's happening now, my Straight Dog family? Envoys don't seem to focus on particular issues. That seemed to be different under July, my Straight Dog family. Both envoys and ambassadors serve as representatives of this government. But ambassadors are to hold a high rank and broader responsibilities. But we have so many ambassadors of this, and ambassadors of that, ambassadors of music, ambassadors of creative arts, and ambassadors of lots of other things, my Straight Dog family. But July continues to spend money as it is out of style. Or he spent money, I should say, as if it was out of style, like a drunken sailor at times. Now he's panicking because the CBI revenues are down over $300 million, my Straight Dog family. Revenues down over $300 million. July has not been transparent about anything. Worse yet, the ambassadors or special envoys. He promised, he said, my Straight Dog family, to provide a list of special envoys and ambassadors. When he will provide a list, only God knows when. He said this.
That to say the diaspora is playing a critical role already. And I'll call on them. Dr. Wade, all the way down to Dr. Carlin Moore, I will call on them and tell them they need to serve. We have a number of others serving, such as Wawel Nero, who is in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. I need to get a list so that people can know who all they are, and if I forgot any of their names, it's not for anything except that I will mention it at another time.
Mm-hmm. Imagine that, my Straight Dog family. Are you saying the Prime Minister of this country does not have a list of ambassadors? Come on, who is fooling who? Patches Dr. July and his gang of worthless vagabonds are the crisis in our country. And the sooner we get rid of them, the better, reads this email. Good night, Mr. Liburd. The budget address will be a serious but interesting one when Dr. July reads that address, reads that other email. And this our final email reads, Patches, I find this a bit funny, but during the COVID, the country and the people were doing much better under the Timothy Harris government than they are doing now under this wicked, greedy Labour government. And that's true. We were doing much better under COVID. People had food to eat. People had money in their pockets, my Straight Talk family. Yes, we were locked down, but life was plenty better, my Straight Talk family. And as we wrap tonight, my Straight Talk family, yes, I was sent a copy of a Facebook post that was circulated by Terence Michael July, accusing me of something I don't understand. So it was a long-winded post. So I was not going to be distracted today, and I decided in my comfort and relaxation, I will read it. If not tonight, perhaps God's pay when I rise in the morning. From what I scanned of this post, however, as I said earlier, and I will mention in closing, there is talk about someone being a minor, and it made a reference to Article 16 of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNCRC. And I knew that convention since my days in social development was yet, and I went to the UN myself. But let's ask ourselves in closing, if this is a minor, who does not work, where does this minor get money from to fund this expensive initiative, my Straight Talk family? That's a question I will ask in parting as well. Again, if this is a minor, and this was reported in the media, if this is a minor, where does this minor get money from to fund this expensive initiative? It reads, Terence Jr. launches back-to-school initiative, entering the new school year on the right foot. And this was August of 2023. So, my Straight Talk family, what we need, therefore, is full disclosure. Did this minor, for example, receive any pay at all from the government treasury? And if so, for what? These are pertinent questions we must ask ourselves. And these are some of the issues that will come to the fore in due course, my Straight Talk family. But for tonight, we focus on how are we going to escape the fiscal quagmire in which the country has been put. We focus on ensuring that all individuals have access to essential services, my Street Talk family. And we ask the question, how do we escape seed? The socio-economic and environmental disaster that's pending in St. Kitts and Nevis. And that's my story tonight, my Street Talk family. And I am not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight as always. I want to thank you, the many listeners, the many viewers, those who send emails, and those, my Street Talk family, who called. Just be advised that all of you, the callers, the emailers, the viewers, the listeners, all of you are the ones who make Straight Talk. And for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's Spear, we will connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light and thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday, keep moving on. Bye-bye, my Straight Talk family.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praise.